Hey guys, Jack here. Today I've got a little bit of a project I decided to work on. For the next 3 or 4 days, starting tomorrow, I'm going to be doing some ATV camping with my girlfriend. And notice I said ATV camping and not survival camping. So in other words, we're going to have a certain amount of featured creatures and comforts, one of them being food. And since we won't have the luxury of a car, everything's got to fit on an ATV. Space is at a premium. So of course we're bringing food, so what I've decided to do is bring along a cooler, but of course there's no room on the ATV racks. I'll show you in another video my setup, but so there's no room for the cooler, which I bought at Walmart yesterday. Okay, and basically what I need to do is build a custom rack. It's going to mount to the back of the ATV to accommodate my cooler. The inspiration for this project came from when I purchased the ATV. It came with a rack already mounted to accommodate a gas can. Okay, and it hangs off of the rack on the back, which is great because it's not taking any room from anything else. So I've decided to do the same thing for this cooler. Alright, so I don't have the luxury of a garage, so you're gonna hear noises. I'm in my backyard in the middle of the city, so one of my neighbors is doing some yard work there. I apologize for that, but I've got to work with what I have at hand. I wasn't thinking, because I left the ATV at a relative's property. Okay, so I don't actually have the ATV here with me, so I can't take any measurements or anything like that. So I have to rely on memory. And by looking at video on the back of my ATV with this exact gas can mounted, okay, I can sort of deduce how wide the ATV is, and by looking at the height of the jug here, I can also know how high up it's mounted. As I was sizing up my cooler and using the gas can here for comparison, I sort of changed my mind as to how I wanted to design this. Originally I was going to add, or rather build a custom built rack just for the cooler and mount it alongside of the existing rack that holds this gas can. What I've decided to do is get rid of the rack holding the gas can, and since I'm in the design process, what I'm going to end up doing is combining these two. See how they're relatively the same height, relatively the same thickness. I think a rack with cooler and a gas can mounted side by side like this would be pretty good. Okay, actually what I may do is take the full width of the back of the ATV, mount the cooler in the middle, gas can on one side, and actually extend the rack over, even though I only have one gas can, maybe make some room for a second one over on the other side. So I'll use this one as a baseline, okay, assuming I can purchase one that's exactly the same size as this later on. So first thing I'm going to do is take some measurements and make a plan. So with the gas can, and the cooler I'm at 22 inches. That's about, let's say, about half an inch of clearance on either side. I don't want it to be too tight. The gas can itself is about 7 inches wide, so I'm going to make the whole thing total length of 29 inches. Actually, I'm going to add another inch to that to round it off at 30 inches. So it's going to be 30 inches long. The gas can is wider than the cooler, so I'm going to use it as a reference. Okay. The gas can with about half an inch of extra play on the front and the back is exactly 11 inches. So what I'm going to do is round that up to 12 inches. In this case, I have to make the whole thing 15 inches tall. Alright, so here's my plan. This is going to be the bottom frame, which is basically a large rectangle with 45-degree cuts in each corner. It's 30 inches long and 12 inches in height, or width rather. Okay, and when I'm all done, it's going to look something like this. Okay, basically a big aquarium, 15 inches tall. And by being 15 inches tall, it's taller than the cooler, so when the cooler sits in here, it will be below this line here, so I can use the top of this as extra storage if I decide to. The materials that I'm going to use is this 3/4 inch mild steel angle iron, 1 inch flat stock. This is all 1/8 of an inch thick, okay, which is plenty for this project, and this 1.25 inch angle iron as well. Okay, so I'm going to build the frame with this on the bottom, maybe the verticals with this one, and everything in between with the flat stock. This is basically what the bottom frame is going to look like. We are at 30 inches, mosquitoes, by, we're over 12 inches because the pieces aren't fitting tightly. What I need to do now is cut the bottom pieces at a 45-degree angle, so when I weld them, makes a much nicer finish. And with this chop saw here, okay, it'll be easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and miter all of my pieces so it fits nice and snug. Alright, here's something to keep in mind. Okay, the saw is set at a 45-degree angle, but I cannot cut all of my corners using the same angle. Okay, I have to go at a reverse 45-degree angle to cut the other side. Alright, because if you look at a piece here, this one's at a 45-degree angle. The opposite side has to be at a 45-degree angle the other way. Alright. What often happens is you get, I'll try to get it on camera here. Okay, you get this, okay, these burry little sharp thin pieces of metal like that. That all has to be ground off. Alright, so this little 4-inch mechanics vise is a pretty handy rig because I can put it wherever I want and I can clamp it down with these big C clamp. Okay, I can clamp it right to the table. Square corners. I want these to be at as much as a 90-degree angle as possible. I'm kind of cheating a little bit. I'm using this magnetic guide, okay? So I clamp the main piece down here and put the magnet in the corner here. Make sure that both pieces line right up. There it is.